season 6 obviously opens with Jack coming back from China. There is a prologue. They started doing this thing where there were prologues and epilogues that you can find on the DVDs. I think from season 4 onwards, or season 3 onwards actually, and where they're just little snippets. And one of the ones from season 6 is when it looks like Jack's been broken out of his prison in China, and then turns out it's just a ruse to get him to confess to something. But anyway, but he's back and he's being sacrificed to save something. I can't remember what, but basically he's being handed up.
It was an exchange for a circuit or something?
Yeah, it's a ruse. Oh, it's for that guy. It's for the whereabouts of a terrorist who turns out to be a converted terrorist. Who Jack then ends up working with. And then the big thing in episode 4, the first 4 episodes of season 6 are very strong, including the death of Curtis, who we haven't really talked about, but Curtis is a great character.
Yeah, that kind of reliable type that just gets stuff done, follows orders.
Yeah, starts out as a kind of by the book guy, which is up against Jack, but then ends up kind of having they form an alliance again. They're great friends, and then Jack shoots him.
Yeah, he does do these kind of expressions when Jack always says something crazy, like trying to explain. Like, there's a little bit of exposition. I never forget his face, just looking at Jack, just like this kind of. He did this he did it very well, of kind of shock, disbelief, but at the same time, oh God, not again, like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was almost I mean, it was kind of comedic, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are moments of levity, I suppose, throughout this, which are born of incredibly high stakes and tense situations. But Curtis was a great foil, I think, and very much. Just a very capable guy. You know, I think that was always the great thing about him as well, is that he was the kind of did everything right. Again, kind of a Jack Bauer in his own right, but no, he's great, and obviously Jack has to shoot him. Again, gets put in an impossible situation, and then a nuke goes off, which is a bit of this is where I would say is the sort of jumps the shark moment for that season, because you've just nuked downtown LA. And but then they don't really. I mean, they sort of skirt around it, and then by the rest of the season, you kind of forget about it. It's like
that is true. I like that they did that, because it's if they saved the day again, it's like I always think of Goldfinger when the bomb is ticking down and they're having that fight with Objob, and at the last moment it's saved, right? But there was this kind of it's gone off, like it's almost like this montage of shots, and it's from afar, and I remember feeling almost like disbelief. I wasn't expecting that to happen, which again, like, and this is something that 24 I like that I felt that again. That is like, oh wow, it just went off, like, because I think it's has more impact. But you're right, there wasn't. You didn't really feel the aftershock of that. You didn't feel the literally, you didn't see any of the carnage, because I mean, look at the situation we're going through now, which is. Everything is affected, and it's not really. I'm not trying to trivialize it, because obviously people are dying. I know friends that have lost people already, so it's like it's already, and it's barely started. But a nuke going off is such a huge thing. I would have loved to see more repercussions weaved into the plot, like later on.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, a nuke detonated on US soil would be. I mean, you would think they would reference it later on in other seasons.
Yeah, I mean, America would go nuts. They'd start nuking everybody that had even looked a bit dodgy.
Yeah. I mean, they sort of make something out of that in it, but it's very kind of brushed under the carpet, really. It's just, especially by the end. you've got the kind of the Muslim detention camps that they start setting up as well. That's involved in it, and it's interesting. I think it just becomes a big hodgepodgey sort of mess. Once you get into it, it's Jack Bauer's family and it's his dad's behind it, and and all that stuff just becomes a bit. It's a bit much, I think.
So why I never understood what with the Redemption. Why was that not a series?
Okay, so let's just finish it because that essentially comes after 6. So six obviously wraps up with Jack kind of lost, nothing to do. Audrey obviously has been in China looking for him, ends up brainwashed, blah blah blah. He ends up with Hella. Kind of there's a really really great scene with Hella, and then he's and his dad's dead. Blah blah. Season 7, which was scheduled to happen, season 6 came out 2007, I think. Yes, 2007. 2007. Season 7 was supposed to come out 2008, but the writer's strike happened, which pushed it over.
Okay.
Redemption was going to be what season 7 was going to be, which was it was going to be set in Africa.
Africa, right.
Sort of shake-up.
I vaguely remember Robert Carlyle.
Yeah, Robert Carlyle doing an Irish accent for no reason whatsoever. Because it just doesn't need to be there. It's like you could have just made him Scottish. I don't understand why. It's like, no, I'll do an Irish accent. Right, here we go. Top of the morning to you, or whatever. I don't know, but he's great, obviously, and it's a funny one that because I think it feels a bit choppy and not really. It doesn't hang together as kind of like a TV movie because I think that's what it's supposed to be.
It didn't have the same format. It didn't follow that.
It was in real time, but it was just 2 hours, I think.
I can't. I have it. I mean, I have the whole box set. I have all of them.
Me too, yeah.
But it's not one. When we rewatched it, I think before Christmas, from start to finish, me and the wife, we just skipped it. It was not something that.
It's a sort of prologue for 7. I mean, it sets up things. It's more interesting. What's more interesting about it is what's going on in Washington, and it's about Alison Taylor becoming president.
Right.
So season 7 then, we're in Washington. So this is the first time that a US-based season is not based in LA. Jack is on trial. As you said, it sort of marks the Bush to Obama years of sort of now the focus is shifted to whatever it takes ain't going to cut it. We've got that kind of not introspective, but that kind of look back at, is it right to seek revenge? Is it right for America to pour its ire on other people and that for kind of what was done to them? You've got the great Kurtwood Smith is playing a senator who's kind of holding Jack to account. This season really goes, it twists and turns and goes all over the place. And Tony comes back, obviously, from the dead because he died supposedly in season 5. So that's the big hook. That was, I remember all the advertising for it was like, Tony's back, oh my god, blah blah blah. And they do interesting things with him. It's about poison gas again. It's just like every Saturday night in my house. Fart jokes, Verde. So yes, the great Tony Todd obviously sieges the White House as General Juma.
What I was going to say about him was that it plays a kind of double fear of obviously a foreign element invading White House. It's obviously as symbolic as it gets, but then also an African man. He's not playing an African American, he's playing a real African.
Yeah.
But the White House being built by slaves, it has this underlying kind of, is almost like a revenge kind of thing. You could quote Public Enemy lyrics here, like a fear of a black planet. You know what I mean? It plays into this threat thing, which I really like. And then of course you've got the other villain played by John Voight. I forget his name.
Jonas Hodges.
Yeah, who's this manic like patriot, just
has his own militia and everything.
Which is another big American fear,
Yeah.
I really like that.
He's the Second Amendment incarnate, isn't he?
Exactly.
And he basically wants to take control of the president, he's threatening to use the gas against the population in order to allow her. It's to get her to sign off on his militia essentially running the army or so. It's crazy.
Yeah, but believable. I mean, there's types like that.
I think 24, what it manages to do most of the time is just take one step beyond reality. It's like it's what could happen. You're within the realms of maybe just about. It's like 110% reality. But that season's a really, really great season. It's the one where we meet Renee. What's her name? Renee Walker.
Of course, the Bambi-eyed Renee Walker. Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very difficult not to be distracted by her. Yeah, yeah, and that's got to be deliberate because, I mean, spoilers. Obviously, you know how it goes. Any woman that goes to bed with Jack is just, it's like signing. It's a death sentence.
Yeah, but also it's a get messed with like having that everyone gets their head messed with first. It seems.
Right. Yes.
And then they get killed. So
she's very naive. She's like by the book. And then she's kind of got that sycophantic. The guy with the eyes far too close together. That's kind of all obviously likes her. But then Jack comes in, this a bad. I'll say it the American way. Bad ass. Comes in.
Yeah.
And she's obviously smitten, and then she slowly descends. Is it this season where she starts, or is it?
It's come season 8. She's messed up.
Then she's messed up, right?
She ends up doing lots of undercover work and ends up in the Russian gangs and stuff like that. And so
that's right. Yeah.
She's really messed up. Whereas in this one, it's like it's the first sort of, because she's come into his orbit effectively. It's like he's filling her head with, no, you do what needs to be done. Who cares about the books? Like blah blah blah. Yeah. And Jack essentially gives his life in that season, even though it turns out, spoilers, he doesn't. But it's like he gets. Like fairly about middle of the second act, like halfway through the season, he gets infected or he gets gassed effectively, and starts, and that ramps up the tension in that season like mad, because obviously he's starting to deteriorate as he goes. It's a big plot point, and it's like we're getting to the point where he's going to die, and it never pulls its punches. It never says at any point like, oh, but if you can uncover, there's a chemical somewhere in a thing that will cure you. There's none of that. It's literally like, no, you're going to die, mate. There's nothing we can do for you. And it is bleak, and again, feels very prescient to today, where you've kind of like, we've got a virus going on right now for which there is no cure. And, if someone gets infected, it's like a countdown clock kind of starts, although obviously it's not quite the same thing. But and it's like, it's just an incredible way to end that season, I think. And it ends with, there's a very, very throwaway bit of dialogue, because obviously Kim comes back into the picture at one point. It's
like, god, yeah. Anytime she shows up, I'm like, oh my god, yeah.
So but then there's I think it's like a bone marrow transplant or something.
Right.
So, anyway, so that's how that ends. And then season 8 obviously is in New York. And
I'm gonna say this off the bat. That's not New York. There was one shot, because look, for those on your channel, I have a YouTube channel, and I've shot on Roosevelt Island, where supposedly their base is. Right? They did one external shot of a helicopter taking off in front of the United Nations building. That's the only time you see real New York, and some like stock footage that they shot. They sent somebody with a camera. It's like every street. I was so annoyed with it, because New York has an inimitable style. You know it. The taxis, the signs, the traffic lights, everything. It's like you're not fooling anybody. Like, okay, if you've never been to New York and never lived there, maybe that's fine. America is very similar, but having lived there for 10 years, I was really annoyed at that. That's the only thing I loved about the scenes in London, was it was London,
Right. Yeah. Very much so. Yeah.
Later.
Yeah.
However, sorry.
No, not at all. No, carry on.
I was gonna say, despite that, I loved the Bollywood actor with the incredible hair.
Anil Kapoor.
Yeah, amazing. The best hair I've ever seen, committed to celluloid. just I don't know what his secret is, like. Obviously we've got Charles Logan and
yes. So here's my main problems with season 8. I think season 7 obviously ends in such a way as, Jack, as I say, has kind of from that choice in season 3 started to make choices that make him hard to root for. Not impossible, you always do, but that he's just started to make choices for himself. And whilst you can empathise with that, sympathise with that, it starts to make him less. He's not infallible, and so come season 8, I think obviously having seen him supposedly going to pay the ultimate price at the end of season 7, and having to face that, and having to actually be faced with, right, you always do the right thing, and you always seem to get away with it just about, even though obviously you've gone through a lot of pain, but now you are going to have to give your life. And are you really going to do that? And it's like, that's such a great place to leave him. But then to sort of be like in season 8, oh no, he was fine. They cured him. That, for me, sets off a thing of like, I'm not liking this because he's not having to pay that price. And then, throughout that season, obviously he has bad things happen to him. Renee gets killed. But he goes out on revenge. The last sort of act, if you like, the last third of it, is just him out for revenge. And I don't know that I like that.
I agree. The only thing I do have to say about that, there is something very satisfying when he turns up in that bulletproof suit and just starts like capping people, just start left and right. Like he almost becomes like a superhero version of himself, where he's just unstoppable. He's just like this. He's almost like RoboCop.
Yeah, he goes after Logan in the motorcade, doesn't he? Yeah.
That is a wonderful, wonderful scene. And I don't remember if there was ever. I remember that Mads. What's he called? Mads. I was about to say Mads Mikkelsen. Michael Madsen. Right? Do you remember him?
Was he? Yeah. Not in 24, didn't he?
No, he wasn't in 24.
No.
Okay, I'm getting confused. But I don't remember seeing any kind of like prep or where did he get that stuff from?
Oh, there is a thing. Oh, I'm trying to think now.
Because from what I remember, he turns up and he just starts.
No, he does get it from someone.
He does get it from someone.
Yeah, he does. He gets all that riot gear and stuff from. I can't remember where it is now. It's been because I say we got halfway through that season, but we didn't. Or we got some way through it, but we didn't finish it off, and I can't think now. I know that season less than I do the rest of them.
Right.
But Anil Kapoor's a great addition to that. Obviously, there's a couple of episodes with Rami Malek.
Of course, yeah. Wide-eyed Rami Malek, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a good season. I don't think it's terrible. I think it just loses its way, and the way it ends, obviously, is the finale. They knew at that point that they were finishing, supposedly, and so it ends on a sort of. I don't know. I would have ended it that way with Jack getting away. I think it really needed to end with him biting the bullet. I think. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it was a deliberate open ending, wasn't it? I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, it's Jack's way. He just walks off into the sunset, which is how it's always been. And then on the other, I don't know. You can't really kill Jack off, can you?
I guess not. I mean, I guess that's where they were at the time. But I think it would have been ballsy. I think it would have been much more. It would have been a bigger punch. I don't know. But it's TV. It's serialized TV. It's not a film.
So when was the London one then?
So after that came 2013 or 14, I want to say, London. Because I remember, I know I chatted with the casting. Well, no, the casting director Dan Hubbard, basically, who's the casting director. I know, who I've sort of met with on and off over the years. He, I think it was either him or Amy, his sister, cast it. So we were having a chat about that. Very much a kind of who's who of British actors, and me not being who of anyone. I'm not in it, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was one. It was a weird show because it was a mini series. It was 12.
Yeah,
So it was 10.
it lost the that format. I
Yeah,
think even a bad season, you can't lose that format. That's what made it 24. Like it's in the name.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
You kind of have to go in with both feet, and I think the problem
Yeah,
with that one is they were like, oh, let's dip a toe in and go right 12 episodes, and basically it was 10 episodes in real time. I
yeah.
think.
So that's 12. It should have
Yeah,
been called 12. You know?
yeah, yeah.
It's like I
Well,
don't understand that, and I hate like I love Stephen Fry. I have a lot of his books and I have a lot of time for Stephen Fry. Even though he is a little bit solipsistic and a little bit self-obsessed. I mean, the guy's got 3 biographies, right? All written by him. But so my point is, his acting was really bad. Like really, really bad. Stephen's not going to watch this. I love Stephen, but
yeah,
I was so excited to see him being the prime minister, and then it's like he never acted before. And this guy's done Blackadder, he's done, you know, it's like, what's
yeah.
going on, Stephen? I genuinely think he probably was, I don't know, I guess you're next to Keitha, and suddenly it's like, oh, you know.
Yeah, I think he can act. Like he's shown he can act.
Yeah,
He
he
played like
can act.
Oscar
He played
Wilde,
Oscar
and
Wilde. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. Maybe he phoned it in, or maybe it was a last minute casting. I know with that show they had basically come over with a list of people they wanted for each part, and
He is a
um,
fan. He is a fan. I think he probably
right.
like tried to get his way in there or something.
Could be, could be. Yeah, it's a funny one, and then obviously come the 11th and 12th episode, it jumps forward in time, which is weird.
Yeah.
And it's
And
thing.
sorry, go on.
No, no, I was going to say in that there's sort of moments that are in and of themselves kind of have energy, like obviously he kills Chang finally and that kind of thing, but
That
and
beheading is
Audrey,
very
yeah,
yeah.
chops his head off. Audrey's death obviously is sort of poignant, but it feels a bit rushed and
Yeah.
unearned, and it's like,
I do
um,
like it. It is in London, so I was relieved about that. And I kind of liked Chloe as this kind of slightly goth Chloe version. Um, I thought they didn't. There was a lot of like loose ends that didn't flesh out the character. I forget the actor's name, but he's British Italian like me. He was in Alien Resurrection. He has that amazing voice. He was like Chloe's boss. What else has he been in?
I
He
think.
was in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, actually. Um,
Oh yes, yes. Sorry, yes, I know
do you
exactly.
know who I'm talking about?
Yes, of
He has
course,
that.
yes.
He has that really gruff voice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. He's great. Tamar
I,
Hassan's in it, but then he's in everything.
right.
He turned
You
up
know
too
all
much.
these great actors, and
Yeah,
I feel they didn't develop them. If they needed to, yeah, it was half-assed. I mean, let's just
yeah,
be honest.
yeah. I mean, it started strong, I think, but it was very much like Jack's back.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that show was so strong. Probably, I would say seasons 1 through 5, and then 7
mm,
strong, and that's
yeah,
pretty good going.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
come to that point, it had really outstayed its welcome, I think. So then, of course, that's the main season or main series proper.
mm.
You've got Legacy, which is the
Legacy.
latest thing,
I
which
haven't seen that. I can't speak for it, but I will say this. Um, obviously, I wasn't surprised it was a flop, right?
yeah,
And the thing is that Jack or Keitha's Jack is so it's inseparable. I've tried to watch Designated Survivor, and it's just Jack playing the president. It's just
yeah,
and
yeah,
he does his little mannerism, like the way he moves his head. It's
yeah.
Jack. Like when you see Lost Boys, we watched Lost Boys quite recently. Like him playing a vampire. There's no Jack there. There's no
Mm,
Jack Bauer.
mm.
Everything after Jack Bauer is Jack Bauer. It's
There's
and
an officiousness to him. You're right, and I think there's a lot. It's like everything is delivered like that. If you choose this, sir, I do not, or whatever.
yeah,
It's all
yeah,
that
yeah,
sort of just
yeah,
da da
yeah,
da 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 da, and it's
yeah.
like I
And he
yeah.
does
There's
this little. he does that look, like he does that thing. I can't do it, but
He does that sort of like I don't know. It's I can't do it without laughing, but it's that sort of like he kind of does a thing with his mouth anyway.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know
But
what you mean.
yeah,
I know what you
he's
mean.
on a bit of autopilot, I think, in that show, which is a shame. I mean, I do think he is a fantastic actor, no doubt. I think you're right. I think he's kind of. I mean, as actors, we find our stride in something, and I think certainly if you've done a television show for over a decade,
Yeah,
you're probably going to be in a groove that you just slip back into. And I
yeah.
don't blame. He did it. He did that brief series called Touch, was it?
I haven't
That
seen it.
I saw a couple of episodes of it. Not bad, but it was again. Jack Bauer has a savant son, you know. So there it is.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, and then something I found out today, which I didn't know about, is that Anil Kapoor from season 8 went off and did an Indian spin-off of 24 for two
Oh my
seasons in
god.
India, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
when you told me that, I couldn't believe it. But
Yeah.
wait, so he's playing Jack Bauer. He's playing
No, I don't know
Indian
what
Jack
he's playing.
Bauer.
I don't know what he's
Is he
playing.
playing his character in India?
I've no idea because obviously he died in that. So I don't know. I'm
Right.
gonna have a look now, see if I can figure it out. But yeah, that is a bizarre thing. I don't know if it's just a spin-off thing where he's a different character and it's not even anything to do
It's
with
like a
the.
mission to like save this incredible hair gel that
Yeah, yeah. 24 India, Jai Singh Rahood. Okay, so I don't think no, he's President Omar Hassan in 24 in the season 8, so he's a different character.
so
That's
he-
lazy.
yeah.
That's very lazy.
So he got on the show and he was like, "Oh, I like this. Let's just." But he's like a Bollywood. Does he sing? Is he like dancing and
Yeah.
singing, or is he like proper? Is it serious?
No, he does a bit of that. I'm sure he does. He does all the dancing and the singing stuff
That's
with the hair.
crazy. Yeah,
With the
but
hair, he's got great hair.
yeah,
Um,
he needs to start his own hair product line.
he probably does, mate.
Seriously,
You know he does. You know he has already. Yeah, he's in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol is one of the things that I
right?
really
I have to rewatch
again
that.
with the hair, and he says
Yeah.
he goes, "She's very hot. You're very, very, very hot." That's my Anil Kapoor.
There you go. Probably the most obscure impression.
Well, in the West, I suppose. In
Right.
India,
Yeah.
everyone's going around going very hot
Yeah.
because it is very
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. So that's about it, really.
Yeah.
Trying to
I'm
think.
about to run out of tape, so
Yes. Oh gosh,
yeah.
yes. Right. Let's wrap it up then. Let's wrap it
Yeah.
up. So 24, obviously, it was a big part of my life. Kind of saw me from mid-teens to mid-20s. Huge, huge part of my life. Big thing I was into for a long time. And one of the things that actually kind of informed me as an actor, I think, as well, in even in a subliminal way, it's like something the sort of type of storytelling I always kind of wanted to do. So, what about you?
In conclusion, it was for me. It was the first time that I think I binge watched, similar to your experience. I kept going back to Blockbuster to get the next one, and having rewatched it. When I buy a box set, it's got to be good. So and I'm probably going to watch it again. And incredible character. Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
Mm.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, well, guys, if you're on the fence about whether or not you're going to give it a go, definitely give it a go. I think when you start out, you'll find that season 1 may feel a little dated if you're, in your 20s and you're not used to watching that kind of thing. But stick with it because it gets so incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, well, dude, TGV, thank you so much for coming and hanging out in Valverde.
An honor and a pleasure as always.
Bless you, my friend, and we'll hopefully be back again to discuss something cool, possibly true romance or something like that.
Let's do that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Brilliant. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening in. I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you all again very soon. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye now.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
партия, ты мира сдерживай. Разум народа, гордость народа, знамя земли трудовой.